So, question is there have been significant structural changes in the export basket of India, both in terms of composition and destination, examined with the help of data. So, significant structural changes in the export basket of India, both in terms of composition of and destination, examined with the help of data. Domestic value added in gross exports is an estimation of value added by an economy in producing goods and services for export, simply defined as the difference between gross output and basic prices and intermediate consumption and purchasers price. The measure is a purchase share of value added can be decomposed into the following components: composition of employees, gross operating surplus, mixed income, and other taxes on production, less subsidies on production. Some changes that before than before in the trade patterns in India are manufacturing sector. Has manufacturing sector has increased its share, that is the other tradable sectors, specialization of production and diversification of consumption. Indian trade is gradually moving away from low value added product composition. The changes in Indian foreign trade strategy from import substitution to export promotion have been improving export performance significantly during the post-reform period. There has been a perceptible changes in the value composition and direction of India's exports as a result of changes in foreign trade policy. The share of manufactured goods as well as the proportion of high value and differential products, petroleum products, has increased in India's export basket, reflecting that Indian economy is being diversified and non-traditional items of export are gaining importance. Earlier, we were exporting many traditional and primary commodities. India exports approximately 7,500 commodities to about 190 countries and imports around 6,000 commodities from 140 countries. India's export growth increased sharply in dollar terms in March 2018, up 28% year on year to 29.2 billion, the highest since the March 2014. March normally sees a jump on exports, but this year rise was extraordinarily high, a bounce of almost USD 7 billion over the average. The first 5 months of the second half of the financial year 2016-17. These developments in India's exports are in line with global exports. Export surge was largely due to sharp rise of import demand of electronics and commodities from China. The composition of India's foreign trade has undergone substantial changes, particularly after the liberalization and globalization. Major exports now include manufacturing goods such as engineering goods, petroleum products, chemical and allied products, gems and jewelries, textiles, electronic goods, etc., which constitute over 80% of our export basket. Destination initially India followed the policy of import substitution, which made it dependent on Western countries. But with export promotion, India started to come out of it and started diversifying the destination of its exports. Trade data of April 2016 to January 2017 shows a big jump in exports of vehicles, parts, and accessories to Mexico, South Africa, and South Asian countries. India's large trading partners in descending order of value of total trade are the UAE, China, US, Saudi Arabia, Switzerland. Descending order of value of total trade are the UAE, Saudi Arabia, China, Switzerland, etc. And regionalization has become a key component of the new international order. India, as a part of the trade policy, has negotiated a number of regional and bilateral FTA, PTAs, export to Asian economies like SARC countries, Hong Kong, Indonesia, Singapore has increased over the years. India's foreign trade policy has been consistently liberalized and integrated in line with World Trade Organization policy concerns. Though the value of export has increased manifold, India's share in the world export is still not up to the expectation. A quick glance would show that Indian exports, which stood at 312 billion during 2011-12 and dropped by 14.4% to 260 billion to 15-16, as may be seen. 80% over 80% of the 5-year decline in export is accounted for by three industry sectors. These are gems and jewelry, which fell by 15.1%, petroleum products, which fell 46.4%, and agriculture products, which fell by 3.7%. The limited diversification of India's export basket, with the top 10 principal export in terms of commodity groups accounting for as much as 78% of total merchandise exports. What happens in the markets for these commodities has a major impact on overall export performance. In recent times, the export performance of some of these goods has either deteriorated or been addressed by a lack of dynamism. Thus, the example four of India's lead exports, engineering goods, gems and jewelry, chemicals and ready-made garments, registered negative or near zero growth rate during 15-16. In recent years, special circumstances have not only affected exports of some commodities, but because of the low value of average of India's export trade allowed this special category goods to find a slot among India's principal exports for a brief period. Excessive dependence on China for iron ore exports of India affected to it too. Associated concept: what need to be done? India is required to make its commodities and services more competitive at the world market. For increasing India's export, it is also required to add new items and diversify commodities and services at competitive price in its export basket. For this, India needs a comprehensive trade policy measures and integrated efforts. India's FDI policy and foreign trade policy must be integrated for export promotion. For achieving 2% of world trade by year 2020, India should be competitive globally and able to exploit opportunities provided by global market and environment. India needs to make proper diversification in composition of goods and services within the background of India foreign trade policy, and also to remove bottlenecks avoiding in the economy and help in improving export competitiveness. India's performance on the high-tech manufacturing trade front is not at par with other leading exporters of high technology products. India should make special efforts to increase the high technology exports, such as aerospace, computers, office machine, and scientific instruments, electrical machinery, pharmacy, etc. India needs to reorient the pattern of its export to switch to more skill intensive and more knowledge intensive goods and services of competitive international quality. For the diversification of and addition of India's export basket and the development of new export markets should be worked out within the background of India's new foreign trade policy during post-reform period and WTO guidelines, and a wider effort to enlarge the country's foreign trade and expand commercial and economic relations with the country other countries. Thank you.